Here's our first video update on the rudder that we started. This is a 1 inch by 1 inch piece here, as well as here. And that bottom one there is also 1 inch by 1 inch. So we already put this lip in here, and this center part in here is now 5/8 of an inch. So there's actually going to be a taper, and that's indicated here by that line because the thickness changes. This is originally 5/8 thick by 1 1/4, but now that we've put this shape in here, and there's also a lip there as well, that's now about 1/2 an inch. It's technically 17/32. So that line indicates a portion of this beam that we have to taper down to fit. That's going to have to start, we started it all the way back here, but we need to make sure we get to this thickness, which this is a 3/4 inch by 1 inch center beam section. And so there you'll see, I'm going to add some photos at the end of this of another build project. There's some discrepancies in his between some of these intersection thicknesses, and we're trying to see how to minimize that and also allow for a nice placement for gussets. Because if you can remember, in our vertical tail that's indicated here, we ended up cutting out a lot of these lips just because we were worried about the finished product, and we didn't like the way that the lip ended right here without, there was no lip on this piece, and then it would have extended through to here. We didn't like that, so we ended up removing that lip just to kind of clean up the gussets. We did the same here on this one as well. That lip was removed just to make for cleaner lines on the finished product. So we're looking at that as we work on this rudder to try to think ahead and minimize all those potential issues that we may have. This isn't the actual piece we're going to use. It's, as you can tell, it's actually shorter. I just put it in there because it's the correct thickness. So that's where we stand right now. We're still trying to figure out and work our way through a few things. We can see we've got the taper indicated on here that we need to cut out, and it needs to come down. As you can tell, I'll lift this up a little bit so it'll come down to that same thickness. And then once we get that done, we'll have to figure out how to get past that issue with making sure that when we add the gussets, they're all clean intersections on all the pieces. So there you go. Just a little update on that. Here's the actual plan for the rudder, and as you can tell, it indicates on that bottom beam and the top beam there is a lip, and you can see how the lip goes, and then in this diagram it looks like the lip ends for that gusset. So there will be a lip to be added on this, but we were going to wait until we got the taper done before we planned out that lip. But I just wanted to show you in the plans how you can see those lips end, transitions to the gusset, and then it transitions back to the next piece. So basically that's what we're talking about, is trying to make a clean transition between each of these corners and the gussets, so it's all on the same plane, and also makes for a smooth, clean surface for a finished product. This would be the top and bottom beam from another guy's build. He actually did that as a two-piece. He added the lip on there as a second piece and epoxied it. These are his joints that he had. You can see how he's using a little bit of plywood to get that's the center beam, to get it on the same plane, and then he'll put a gusset over that. So he's got a small piece of plywood, and then he'll gusset in. This is his product here before gluing. He did his trailing edge way different. Here's ours, the whole shebang, the rudder, top being on the left, bottom on the right. There's our trailing edge on the left-hand side with the top beam, and then the main beam on the right with its taper.